Hi everyone! We're starting live now, obviously. We're gonna wait for our guests to join and then some more people to join too, and we'll get started. Hi! We're just waiting. Oh, I miss you too! How's Dr. Joy? I miss you! I miss going to see you. Oh, there she is. Let me just... Sorry, give me a minute, Cassie. There. Thanks. You too. Have a good day. I see Jordan. Hi, Jordan. Wow, a lot of people. Hi, Cassie. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. You sound kind of far, but I can still hear you. It's Jordan.
Hi, Kiki.
Jordan and Kiki, hi. Hi, Chris.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow, a lot of people. Oh, that was fast. I was like, we'll just wait for people to join, but that was pretty quick. All right. um, Hi, Kiki. We miss you. All right. How are you doing, Cassie?
I'm good. I'm happy we figured out the technology.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited.
I know. I'm excited too. All right, we can get started right away. I think someone said hi, send a request to add. We're just gonna do it just like the two of us. I don't know who that is. Do you know?
That's Karen. Hey, Karen. It'll just be Brenda and I on the video, but you can watch. This is my first time on live too.
I know. It's okay, but we can. You can ask questions later on. Oh wow, so many people are joining. This is exciting.
I told all my.
Good. All right. No, go away. Sorry, my cat's like gonna move my computer. No, go over there. All right. Okay, so we can get started. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. Today my guest for this week is a very good friend of mine who used to be my roommate. We met in Hawaii. Cassie Ferguson, who is a Portland-based printmaker and skateboarder. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll just do a little synopsis of what I do. Yeah, so as Brenda said, I'm a Portland-based printmaker. I mostly work in screen printing and lithography, which is kind of like an alchemical printmaking process using a stone and the separation kind of grease and water to produce a print under 2,000 pounds of pressure, which is pretty amazing. Um, and yeah, so I typically, the content of my work is usually just about skate culture, definitely some punk rock culture. And lately I've been.
Damn, they want you to go louder.
Can you hear me? All right, talk louder. Is that better if I like this?
I think so. It's better for me. I don't know. Let's see. Jordan,
Okay.
can you hear her? Sorry.
No. Okay. Let me see if I can do anything about it. If I talk like this, is this better?
It's good for me. It's good on my end, slightly.
Okay. I might just have to have my face.
That's that's up close and personal. That's fine.
But yeah. Oh, is that better? Okay. Okay. I think the mic's up. So yeah, lately I've been working with kind of the idea of media control and technology and how humans interact with that and how we're sort of controlled by that. That's been my interest as of late. So yeah.
Awesome. So we can get started from there and talk a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah. So I grew up in Santa Cruz, California, but I was born in Sydney, Australia. So I moved to Santa Cruz when I was 2. But I had my childhood in Santa Cruz, and then for 9 years I lived in Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently just moved to Portland, Oregon.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You cut off for me a little bit, but I heard you. Yeah, so then what inspired you to create art?
So I've kind of always been interested in art and always drawing and painting. Um, but definitely growing up in Santa Cruz, kind of surrounded by the skate culture and the punk rock culture, I'm realizing more and more kind of how that is, had kind of that was sort of like my roots and the concepts that I explore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also at UH Manoa, where I went, there's a great community of printmakers, and that kind of community definitely inspired me to pursue art more seriously, like I am now. Yeah, that's kind of my inspiration, and also I guess like signage, street signage.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of all around. I'm always looking at that, kind of questioning it. Same with commercials and advertisements and television and all of those things are inspiration as well.
Cool. And so when you decided to pursue art as a career, did you receive support from your family and your friends?
Yes, definitely. I've always been lucky to have amazing friends and family to support me. My mom would buy me art supplies. Um, and yeah, kind of just like I said, that community at the university was sort of always, you know, pushing me to make more and to kind of take it more seriously. Um, yeah, and my friends always love when I make T-shirts for them for
Yeah.
Christmas and stuff. I hope they do. So blessed to have a great support system
Yeah,
for the
that's
art.
awesome. I love it. And so we can dive a little deeper into your school. So um what schools did you attend, and what major did you start with, and what did you end up doing instead?
Yeah, that's a funny story. So I ended up going to the University of Hawaii at Manoa to get my degree in biology because I wanted to go to medical
Mm-hmm.
school. And that changed when I took a screen printing class, and I kind of just, yeah, fell in love with printmaking and decided that that's kind of what I wanted to do. I was passionate about biology, but I feel like when I discovered printmaking, I really felt like that's what I was supposed to do, and I
Mm-hmm.
felt like at home, people around me, and just the, working with my hands. And so I'm really thankful that I like went to school for biology because I would have never discovered that I would have wanted to. Sorry, I never would have discovered I wanted to be a printmaker. Um, so yeah, and then now I'm actually going to Pacific Northwest College of Art in Portland, and I'm getting trying to get my MFA in print.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say what school you're at now because I kind of forgot the name of your school. So I'm glad you said it. Um, yeah, and so I wanted you to also talk more about your experience in the art world at UH and kind of opportunities you had while you were in school there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm so thankful for that experience too. I think I owe most of it to Charlie Cohan for providing such a great community. A lot of the experience I had wasn't necessarily in class.
Hmm.
I was BA for 3 years after, and I think that kind of teaching experience really helped me learn a lot. As well as we did a lot of like pop-up print events, um, and we did some traveling print workshops, which were great. We got to go to Portland in 2015 with LRC, Little Refractive Collective, I think. But that was with a couple other students and professors, and that was actually the first time I discovered PNCA, the school I'm at now.
Hmm.
So that particular experience, I think, was really huge in what I'm doing now, like where I'm at now. Um, we also went to the Hui no Yao Press in Makawa, Maui, and got to do some mono printing workshops there. Um, Lots of kind of, just workshops, working with the community. Another thing at UH we did was have visiting artists come, and we got to collaborate with them in like a professional printer kind of
Hmm.
manner. So, which is something I'm really interested in right now too. So yeah, we worked with artists like Edgar Hooperberg and Andrea Dezo, kind of big names, and we worked with them directly to print work. So that was pretty exciting. And um, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else kind of opportunities. I did have a zine for a little bit that I collaborated with the community on, and that was cool to kind of make a kind of publication and work with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also something I forgot to mention the other day. 2 years ago, I got a scholarship to go to Penland School of Craft in
Oh,
North.
that's right.
Yeah, so I did a 2 week lithography workshop there, and that was just amazing. Working like just all day in the studio with an amazing female printmaker lithographer. So that was pretty amazing to see, a woman in that position
Yeah.
being a badass lithography. That was amazing. And that was, yeah, those connections I made were super huge. Like I talk to a lot of those people still, and like I see them on Instagram, and those are the opportunities I feel like that kind of are just exponential in providing more and meeting more people, especially in Hawaii, because Hawaii, despite like it's a small place, but there's a great community there. But because it's isolated, getting out to the mainland to meet more printmakers was really huge for me. I feel like.
Yeah. Did you mention about Brisbane? I wanted.
No, we didn't. Yeah, Brisbane. Yeah. So we went to Brisbane. I went there with Charlie to help him set up a show he had, as well as teach a couple lithography workshops. And a few of the artists there actually had been visiting artists at UH, so it was just kind of strengthening those connections and working in a different
Mm-hmm.
studio. That was really, that was a really good experience for me to kind of feel out different spaces and check it out. Because one day I want to set up my own. So
Yeah.
I think how other people do lithography was big.
Cool. Yeah, I like that you mentioned all of that stuff. I didn't want you to forget anything. That's why I was like, wait, she didn't say that. Um, so yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. I think you have such an awesome experience from UH. And I mean, you were part of my experience as well. So I'm really glad that you're talking more about it. So, my next question for you is, what do you feel that school prepared you for?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I wasn't really an art student. I was a biology student who spent all of her time in the art studio. So from my perspective, I kind of just wasn't. I don't want to say jealous, but I was just like I admired all of these art students. I wanted to be one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of pretended like I was. And I took free time there, and I took all these opportunities that were presented, and I remember like grad students being like gods and kind of just taking notes and being around them. So I feel like that experience prepared me kind of more technically
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't taking all of these art classes. It was more just a studio class where I learned lithography or screen printing, and I was kind of more focused on that side of the art
Yeah.
world. So yeah, I feel like the technical experience was great for me there. And then also working within a community, working collaboratively, and kind of just making those connections. I mean, look at us talking right now. This is just
Yeah.
intimate moments, most people. Uh, so yeah, and then I think that's kind of, and I guess I got a biology degree too. I guess that
You're just like
I'm
throw that in there so quietly.
still working on that. Yeah, on that piece of the
Yeah.
puzzle. But yeah,
Nice. And then the follow-up for that one is, what do you feel that school did not prepare you for? And I think that's a bigger conversation that we were kind of having the last time we spoke. So go for it.
yeah. So yeah, like I said, because I wasn't in those art classes, the required kind of professional practice or critique classes, I feel, especially now coming to grad school,
Hmm.
I'm kind of like, whoa, like, how do I conceptualize my work?
Yeah.
How do I talk about work? I'm just like a printmaker and I make things.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't think I was necessarily prepared for kind of talking about my work and understanding its context and trying to speak about it and write about it and present that to the world. Yeah, and I guess same goes with like professional practice, like what it means to be an artist, how to apply to shows all the time, and how to navigate that world. I still feel very kind of new to that, and it's a little scary sometimes. Um, yeah, I guess. What else? We were talking about something else.
Yeah, I think we were talking about hold on, I'm trying to see kind of like what an artist does after their degree a little bit. I don't know if you want to we could talk a little bit about it, and then I feel like later on it'll blossom. I hope.
um, yeah. I guess that kind of just ties in with the professional practice. Like, I just focus so much on making things in the studio that when I'm done with the print, I kind of am lost. I'm like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
And And I've chosen done that, and I'm not super interested in that. I don't know if that's a good thing. Like I love making the things,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I need to keep on putting it out in the world.
Right. No, definitely. No, thank you for sharing that. I think all of that is just so awesome. And like you said, you didn't feel like an artist, or you put yourself as an artist. And I remember when I met you, I thought you were an artist, and you're like, no, I'm a bio major. I was like, that doesn't sound right, but I guess. Yeah, so I mean, segueing from that, we get to talk about your artwork and what you've been doing recently. So I know you want to show a few things, so the floor is all yours, and you can talk about everything, and then I'll just ask questions here and there, but go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess coming up to speed, I just started grad school this semester, and that's been really heavy on sort of just really thinking about what I'm making and why I'm making it. So this semester, I kind of discovered something that I've always felt, but this idea of sort of critiquing technology,
Mm-hmm.
critiquing media. I've always like looked at signs and looked at advertisements and been like, hey, that doesn't seem right, or that's fucked up,
Yeah.
or um, so this semester I really made that connection between like making work about that and kind of my thoughts, and it's kind of just helping me jump more into understanding myself
Yeah.
and how I um, always questioning the status quo and trying to, I guess, encourage people to think for themselves. I think that's huge. Um, so yeah, I kind of started this semester working in a familiar medium, which is lithography, and my stone actually gave me hell. I thought it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
Jump, was I etched it like 5 times. It was too light.
Oh man, that's a lot of work.
Picture. It's on my computer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Flip the screen and we can check it out.
Can everyone see that? Okay. Yeah. So this is a stone lithograph with a color blend printed on kitakata paper, and then I shinkolated or mounted it onto a black backing piece, which is something I like to do in my work. And this piece actually I got the idea for. Should I just hold it here?
Yeah, you can hold it and talk about it. I mean, that's what I used to do, so go for it.
Yeah. So this piece kind of was my first couple days in Portland, and like an experience I had that was. I'm just gonna come back over here. My mom and I were actually on the freeway, and we found ourselves surrounded by we're in like a Trump barricade.
Hmm.
So it was all these Trump supporters waving flags, the semi trucks, just like terrifying
Yeah.
feeling. And then the next day, I was curious to see how the news would report it. So I went and I looked, and it was just so. What was being said in the media was so different from what I'd experienced first. So that kind of ignited this like more serious like investigation, media and media control and censorship.
Yeah.
How the information that we get is like just so skewed, and I mean the reality is we're never going to know the truth, and I think we can get stressed out so much about that or
Yeah.
our lives. But yeah, this piece kind of was talking about that. It's kind of chaotic and overwhelming, which is a feeling that I was having in that
Hmm.
moment and a lot of moments this year actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also included all these little televisions. I'm not sure if you can see. And those little, yeah, they're kind of like just.
Oh, I see them. Oh, nice.
And yeah, I've been doing those for a long time. It's like just this. I don't know how you probably have a similar thing where you sort of like draw something all the time, or there's just repeating elements in your work.
Yeah.
So they kind of came out in this one, and yeah, so like that was sort of representing the media. Um, and then there's a bridge in there, Morrison Bridge, which is where a lot of the BLM protests
Hmm.
were, marches were occurring. So I was trying to kind of understand this new town I moved into.
Right.
Yeah, and that's sort of the meaning of that one. And it took me, I think, you asked how long it takes.
Yeah.
Or it took to, that one I think took me about a month and a half, just because like my stone was not behaving well.
Hmm.
Studio is definitely a little interesting. Yeah, and that one kind of actually leads into the next print. So I had critique for that print,
Mm-hmm.
and one of my cohort members, asked me like why I make those televisions, and I was kind of like, I don't know, like that's the media, like whatever. That question actually really, I think that question guided my whole semester, because I was like, okay, like why do I do this? Like what's
Mm-hmm.
up with this TV? So I did some research, and that particular model is from the year 1996,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay.
yeah, I also kind of got into projection this semester too, and I found a projector. The one I was kind of aesthetically drawn to was
Mm-hmm.
also a model from that year.
Mm.
So that was like an interesting discovery. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm attracted to technology from this year, a year before. Before I think we had this like media overload and 24-hour news cycle. So
Right.
I'm not quite. I haven't figured that part out yet, but it's that's I think important in some way or another. Um, so yeah, my next print, I sort of just took that TV and zeroed in on it. Here's a photo. So yeah, this is just like a. This isn't a stone lithograph. It's a photolithograph, which is a new process for me. I'm trying to kind of branch out a little bit, and it's a CMYK separation. So the colored part of this print is 4 layers that kind of come together, with a CMYK,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lithograph. And then the outside border is a screen print.
That's so
But
cool. I
thank you. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. So the static in that is actually like a field of tulips.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I was kind of interested in like using like collage to put in this kind of viewfinder behind a television. Um, and yeah, I found this field of tulips in a Nat Geo magazine, and I was like, wow, that's like really great static. I thought it was pretty interesting that it was like a natural or like a flower,
Right.
real flowers, juxtaposing those two things. But it's funny because that field of tulips is not naturally occurring either. It's
Oh.
someone it's it was planted that way, so it's kind of this
Mm.
intervention in even the nature that's around us. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of layers. I feel like literally coming together.
I love it. So wait, how long sorry, how long did that one take to do?
That was a bit long too, just because I was learning a new
Mm-hmm.
process. So I did about a month and a half as well. And then it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do the border.
Right.
But I ended up going with screen because it was easy to register onto the layers. And yeah, I think I did an edition of 10 on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Working on printing, um, or trying to work on being like more precise and making like a bunch of the same, like repeating the same exact print.
Right.
I'd like to do as a profession eventually. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to practice my own prints.
Yeah, and does that one, sorry to cut you off, does that one have an addition as well?
Yeah, I think this one was 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one not so much. I was just so over it. So 3 of those, which I'm kicking myself for because I already destroyed the stone.
Oh no.
But
It's okay.
and then I think I had something else to say about. Oh yeah, so then the field of flowers static that like I brought that into critique as well, and I like got destroyed because I couldn't explain what it meant.
Oh,
Like,
mm-hmm.
it wasn't in a bad
Mm-hmm.
way. I'm very new to this idea of people kind of picking apart your work.
Mm-hmm.
It's always so helpful, but I kind of left that day feeling like, oh my god, I don't know what my art means. Like, why I'm in grad school.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually, like about a week ago, I've been reading this book on media,
Mm-hmm.
and there was this passage that sort of talked about how all media, whether it's a book or a television or a phone, it's all kind of an extension of humans, our perception of the world, and our perception of the world, like looking at nature, looking at we kind of mediate. We're mediating our lives, the natural lives,
Mm-hmm.
through technology forms. So I kind of connected those two things after the fact. Um, I think it's a lot about. I mean, I think we're allowed to make meaning come after. We don't have to make stuff and it means something right away. And because I think making is just thinking. Like when I'm making these things, I'm just kind of visually pondering and processing my thoughts, and then you can find what it means later.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with that print.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I have so many more questions about that. But I want you to keep sharing your last print because right.
Okay. Yeah, so this last one was actually really me going out on a limb. It was for my print installation class.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of were guided to make like a installation with prints,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of it was really open ended, and I had a hard time kind of. I think it was just opening up and like exploring. I do like to. I feel like I work in a very like scientific empirical way sometimes, and I think that's my biology degree
Mm-hmm.
speaking. So yeah, I kind of like this semester learned how to break out of that and embrace this other side of me because I have these two sides. I have my like science, like precise side, and then I have my like punk rock, like DIY ink everywhere side.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this project sort of, this project sort of, I was able to access that other side. Also a photo, and I actually brought myself into this, which is something I wasn't really stoked on. Um, but yeah, so I made wallpaper out of static. I printed about, I think it was like something like 80 feet of printed roll,
Nah,
screen
tell
print.
me that the last time. That's so much, Cassie. Holy shit.
It's fun though. I mean, that's the printmaker. I mean, just it's fun to just kind of just bang out the prints and
Mm-hmm.
like, what can I do with these? And so I put them on the wall. And then the kind of streamers going across were linoleum blocks that I had done at home, and I just hand printed a bunch as well. Um, and yeah, you can't really tell, but the light's coming from an old school projector,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I wanted to incorporate somehow. I think just because I liked the way it looked, and I actually ended up using it just as like a way to blind me. um, and that kind of fed into like what this means. Like I feel like this is sort of an extension of like talking about media, like being overwhelmed, having all of these kind of like sources of information hitting you, hard to differentiate between reality and like this technological realm. And I think like putting myself into this piece, like I feel like for me represented that, and then staring at this like bright projector, being like disoriented, I think kind of helped to mimic like those feelings, about being cornered by the media.
Right.
And yeah, and so I put it in a corner too to kind of make that feel a little uncomfortable. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'll put myself in my work again. I did make a video too, kind of just
Oh,
introducing.
really?
I'm not, yeah, I don't know. I feel uncomfortable showing that.
No, no, you could show it. I mean, that's up to you. But I think it's really cool how I mean, like you said, you're kind of being forced to be a little uncomfortable. But I like it. I feel like for me, I feel like it would be cool if you incorporate yourself in at least one more piece before you back out about it. Because I think that piece is really, really good. It speaks on so many levels. But continue, continue.
Yeah, I had a fun time. I think working bigger, that's something I've been wanting to do, and especially in print, again, just to like repeating something over and over and over, and really changing a space. And actually, this was all just held up with thumbtacks and blue tape. It was kind of
That's
uh,
awesome.
just for the picture,
Yeah.
really. I would like to do something in the future using like heat paste
Hmm.
and bigger space, maybe thinking about that more, not just in the school, like maybe out in the world somewhere. Um, yeah, and also projection. I'd like, even though I just use the projector for light, I would like to kind of experiment with that more, just because you can really make a space different, and change it.
Yeah, and I feel like with with the projector, you can really make it larger than
Mm-hmm.
larger than life, pretty much. You could just like back it up as much as you can and then just make it huge. I could totally see you doing that.
Yeah, I ended up screen printing on just as like a side experiment on like transparency paper, like you would put on an overhead,
Oh, cool.
with transparent base and some color in it. And I got some color. It's definitely something I want to work with more. And I did a version of that piece with the projection slide over it, but
Right.
I didn't really like how it looked. I like the kind of just the bright light. I think me being blinded by the light was more important for this one, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So that was this semester. I feel like I now reflecting on it, I feel like I was. It makes sense to me. Like actually, just talking to you the other day, like kind of what we just talked about. Like
Mm-hmm.
it connects, and I can see the through line, and I can see how like this kind of exploration of media is progressing. And I'm pretty excited to kind of keep working with that. Um, kind of yeah, trying to kind of question the things that were fed, and I would like to find a way to, I think, subvert the media more and kind of like say fuck you to the man,
Do it.
like that's right here, that's what I'm about. And like I want to be able to express that in my work more, but now that I know that, I think it'll be easier
Mm-hmm.
get that across.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Yeah, I mean, even the other day when we were talking, I really wish we could have just talked for hours and hours because you were just on a roll and there was so much going on. I'm just like, I really hope there's enough time for her to share all this because it's all so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, the talking part, I think this is, I mean, yeah, I told you I picked up so much just from our conversation and the questions you asked, and yeah, I think we could have hours and hours more, and I would know more about myself as well.
Yay. Yeah, but do you want to share any other things about your pieces before we go on to the next thing?
I
Oh,
think that was, yeah.
how long did the last piece take you? Sorry, I think I just yeah.
Oh yeah, that piece. It's funny. I struggle because we really were working on it for a while, and I just flip flopped over so many different
Mhm.
ideas. So I think it was like 2 months for the whole project, but this like the printing and the installing and all of that was probably only about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half.
Sweet.
Um, so a lot of it was just like mental work before, and then this was just once I had an idea, I think it's pretty. I'm pretty quick with kind of banging it out, but the hard part's like thinking about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think one last thing before we move on is because I think she's watching. I think Tara's watching. But when we spoke, I remember that when you were talking about the wallpaper, we just kind of like brought up Tara and how like her work really inspired both of us in like different ways.
I remember pink wallpapers in in the etching studio at UH, and yeah, I think we were talking about how it was kind of something like subconsciously sort of transgressed, like through just seeing other people make things, and yeah, the community. I mean, that's where the community comes in.
It
Where
is.
we're all
It most definitely is. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. And I mean, if there's anything else you want to just like chime in on, just let me know. But I'm gonna kind of like we're almost done, and I want to make sure I have enough time so that people can ask questions. So the following one is, how do you feel being a female artist? And I remember we spoke about it, and it's just kind of me giving like a platform for you and I mean any artist really to talk about if there's ever been a time where you haven't felt supported or like mistreated or harassed just for being a female artist.
yeah. I mean, I we spoke about it the other day, and you know, I think there probably are. Oh, did I switch it? Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think what did I say the other day? Just that there probably were moments that it's happened, and that I think maybe as women we're so just like used to tolerating or accepting or just being blind to it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really put my finger on anything particular, but I do have those fears, especially now. Like I'm pursuing this career in art. I'm trying to get a grad degree. I probably am going to go into teaching in some form or another, um, and that's what scares me. Like I was just reading this. I just got this great Gorilla Girls book, and a lot of their work is exposing kind of like the disparities in the art world
Yeah.
and cases of just not, like women not being just the disparity between men and women, the pay gaps. So I definitely have those fears when I'm like thinking of applying to a job,
Mm-hmm.
because in my head I'm like, yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want, like, but the reality is sometimes like the world is not like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, but I think in order to kind of get past that, you just have to be good at what you do and have a good heart and keep going. And I mean, that's never stopped me because like I've existed in these male dominated realms like skating. I've carved my own way there and made my place. So I think it'll happen for sure. But Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. That's a really good answer. So thank you for saying that. And so yeah, the following one is how are you taking care of yourself physically and emotionally during this pandemic time year, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic is just this wild, crazy animal, and I think it's definitely helped me to slow down. I'm like kind of like a busybody. I need to be doing something all the time and being productive and working and making money and art. But that's not the reality right now. Like it's not that pace of life that I'm used to.
Yeah.
It's not real. Like I can't do that right now. So I think during this pandemic, I've learned to slow down, and that comes in the form of taking a break or sleeping in and
Hmm.
not stressing out about all these things. Saying no to projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just drinking more water and you know just trying to be nicer to myself, like mentally too. I definitely am pretty critical of myself a lot of the time, and I'm trying to take off that kind of extra weight because
Hmm.
that's just unnecessary, and we're all doing a good job.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, no, I like how you said that, being nicer to yourself in your mind because I mean, I need to do that too. We're always very, very critical of one another. Yeah, and so my last question for you before we let the audience ask you questions is, do you have any advice for artists?
Yeah, I mean it's funny. Like I feel like I shouldn't be giving advice, but I guess I mean coming from my experience, like I guess just if when there's something that you love to do, like for me printmaking, I put my whole heart into it and all my time and all of my energy, and I just like couldn't have been more happy with the outcome of that, and just like the community that I've made and the art that I've made and the just the kind of joy of this kind of lifestyle. So I guess it's just like when you find something like that, you just gotta put your everything into it, and I don't think you can really go wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, Cassie. Oh, such a good answer. You give good advice. Don't say that you should. It's good advice. Yeah, so now we're doing really good on time. I'm just keeping an eye on the clock. We have a good like 15 minutes for questions. You did really good. So we can just have it open for the audience. And while somebody types a question, I actually wrote more questions while you were talking because I was like, oh my God, so many more details. So while we wait for people to ask, a question I have for you is how do you feel working with color?
That's a funny question. So yeah, like I said before, I have these two like I have my like my precise printmaker side, and then I have my kind of like wild crazy punk rock side. And the same kind of translates to when I work in screen printing and lithography. Like my screen prints are very colorful and kind of like bright and
Hmm.
bold. And then when I work in litho, it's like kind of just working in that black litho and
Yeah.
closer to myself. So yeah, I definitely noticed that kind of separation before, but this semester I've sort of broken past that. So I that first lithograph I made was a stone lithograph, but I used the color blend,
That's right.
and then the one was using color. So for me, I'm just trying to like get like it's always for me to like try to like get better at a certain skill.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I learn how to use color on a stone, and then when I did that, I'm like, wow, I love like that litho ink from a stone on in color. So I think it's sort of definitely making its way more into the stuff I'm making.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, so I don't know if you know anybody who's watching, but was it last time I was just like call people out to ask you questions if you want. I mean, that's up to you. I know Kiki's on here. She always has really good questions. But yeah, while we keep waiting, I'll just keep asking because I have
Okay.
many questions. So how do you feel being critiqued? I know we talked about it a little bit last time, but
Yeah. So I think I didn't realize that that was going to be a new thing for me.
hmm.
Because I mean, in our in our printmaking classes and at UH, we would sort of stand around and talk about the work. But I feel like that critique was kind of just like gentle.
Hmm.
I feel like it didn't go too deep. I guess at the level a grad school does.
Hmm.
I mean, I still don't really understand it that well. But yeah, I definitely feel really like vulnerable. I don't really like talking about myself, so this whole thing is a little difficult
Yeah.
for me. And then in like a class, but I have gotten, I think, the information I need to sort of like to um, like progress my concepts and my work, like because of those hard questions that people ask. And I think a lot of it's just letting go of your ego and being humble and kind of trying to, um, yeah, just move forward from there.
Oh my gosh,
I feel like
Kiki.
I'm rambling of.
It's okay, Kiki. Ask whatever you want. Yeah, no, I actually have a few more, and I didn't share these with you last time, so I hope I don't catch you off guard. So like I know how you said that you're barely being considered an artist, so I wanted to ask why didn't you consider yourself an artist before? And the reason why I asked that is because when I was a student and I would see you like doing TA and stuff, like your work was always like precise, it was always really framed, and you would always have it in exhibition. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's already an artist. Like I have to get on her level. When like how you said you're like, I consider myself an artist recently, I'm like, what? So I wonder why now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that's funny. Like, during those times, I didn't know what the hell I was really doing. So thank you for
Yeah.
saying that. I think it's because I was a biology student because um, like I felt like not an outsider because I felt very included in the printmaking community at UH, but I just felt like um, because I was sort of coming from the science background,
Yeah.
I didn't really kind of understand what it was to be an artist. But now I'm realizing like nobody fucking does, and people just make some work and have fun
Yep.
and like yeah. So I mean, I think it's been the last couple of years that I'm like when people ask what I do, I say I'm a printmaker, I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm.
That feels really good. And I still don't know what it means, but I'm happy with using those words now.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, and you should because your work was really good. I mean, I still remember when was it? It was one of the Honolulu printmakers and one of your pieces sold for like what, like $900? I was just like, but like I'm like I have to get on that level.
That was one of those moments because like it's so hard to price work,
Yeah.
and I actually really loved. It was a triptych. I
Mm-hmm.
finished
It
doing
was a
it.
triptych, yeah.
Yeah, and I like loved that print. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna price it high. Like, no one's gonna buy it. And then someone bought it, and I was like more bummed that it sold because I wanted to keep it. And those were like the artist proof. Those were my favorite ones.
Right.
So great lesson there too, not to put your best work for sale because yeah, keep it.
Yeah, I still remember when you were like, never put your best work for sale. I was like, oh fuck, okay, I'll keep that. I never forgot that when you said that because I was like, Cassie, you won all this money. You're like, yeah, but I wanted my print. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, got it, got
No.
it. Oh, Kiki asked a question. Thank you, Kiki. Sorry I put you on the spot.
What more do I want to accomplish in printmaking than I didn't do before? Um, well, that's yeah. I guess I did want to talk about this a little bit more, but I want to like as much as I like making my own work, I want to. I mean, I have a goal to be a printer, like a master printer,
Hmm.
have my own print shop. It's going to be called Lost Bearings Press.
Awesome.
State Bearings.
Oh wow, you already have the name. Woohoo.
Yeah, I need to get it trademarked or something. So yeah, like I want to take it to the level where I can print for other people confidently. So that's why I think I'm so obsessed with the technical part of things
Hmm.
because making your own work's one thing. Printing your own, you can make mistakes, you can change it as you go. But if I were to be working in that field as a master printer, you have to be on it. You have to be precise, and it's almost this ungodly amount of pressure. Literally, you have to put on yourself to do that. And I don't know, I think I like making my life hard, so I think that's why I would want to pursue something like that, put myself in those stressful situations. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Ooh, another question. After that question, I actually have another question, but go on.
Okay, Riley says, hi Riley. How has moving to Portland changed the way you see art? Ooh, that's a good one,
Hmm.
Riley. You know, I think that kind of, oh, we got a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
See, that's awesome. It just takes one
uh,
person. Thank you, Kiki.
I think moving to Portland, the street art there is insane. Like the graffiti and the wheat paste everywhere. It's super punk rock, and I'm super interested in that world. So I think for me, like I'm more interested in seeing that work on the street, and that sort of helped me like. So like when I've done or like when I'm printing, you always make proofs, so kind of the ones on shitty paper or newsprint. So I've started like wheat pasting those up on the street to kind of put them next to the work I see. So I think it's helped me see my work too in this like kind of more of like a accessible realm. Like I feel like putting work in a gallery right now, no one's gonna see it because it's COVID. But if you put your proofs up on the street, like you know the world's gonna see it.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question, Ryan.
That's a really good way to look at it. Nice.
Well, someone's got to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, okay.
Talk about.
Here, oh,
Oh,
talk about the case in public and share your ideas to the world. Yeah, so that's kind of just what I was talking about, like that making art more accessible. I think is huge. Like I've always been kind of anti. Like, I mean, it's funny. I do have that side of me that's like precise and curating my work, but I feel like I think a lot of it's about accessibility and like for me it's like a thrill to go out at night and like be a vandal and put shit up. Like that's fun. And a lot of the art that I've been most moved by has been on the street or has been kind of like just kind of DIY skate art or just stuff that's not in a museum. So I think that's kind of the feeling that I get from that.
awesome. No, thank you for sharing all that. We have a lot of time. So if anybody has any more questions, please ask because I'm just gonna keep asking you questions. I have so many questions. Um, so kind of what you were saying right now when you said that it's like an ungodly amount of pressure to be like a master printer. Before I ask the question, I was gonna say I feel like you and Sume would be perfect to be master printers because I would see you guys helping Andrea, and I was like, fuck, I'm like, they have no smudges. And I remember back then I was still like learning, so I would smudge everything and I'd be like, fuck. I was like, I'll never be as good as Cassie. I'll never be as good as Sume. But like you guys were so precise, so I can totally see. But yeah, sorry. Hello. Sorry. But yeah, but my question is why do you like feeling under pressure, like that much pressure? I would say I feel like if you go to now that you're in grad school, I feel like someone's gonna be like, why do you like putting all that pressure on yourself?
That's a great question. I talked to my therapist about that. No, I'm just kidding. um, I don't know. I just for me like a lot of the times that I've like made kind of challenged myself. I have grown a lot.
Mhm.
So like when you make your life hard sometimes this isn't all the time, but when you make your life hard and take these opportunities that are tricky, I think like you get a lot out of them and you learn a lot afterwards. So I think that definitely kind of has to do with it. I probably shouldn't do that as much because it's stressful and difficult, but a lot of the time it's been fruitful and kind of me learning new things or making new connections.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just wanted to ask because I was like, she likes being under pressure. Because I remember, I think it was Charlie that asked me that one time, and I was like, oh, I don't mind being under pressure. He's like, but why? And I was like, I don't know. So
I'm a printmaker.
yeah, there you go. um, but yeah, I actually have a few more questions that I hope people keep asking. Um, instead of just being it, having it be me. But I wanted you to talk a little bit more about your photolitho process because I've been seeing a lot of musicians have their merch, and this is so I saw Taylor Swift has a new album out, and I saw that for her merch because my cousin really likes her. I saw that she has photolithos for sale, and I was like, I thought they were prints, but then when you said that you were talking about a new photolitho process, I was like, oh, it's a different thing. So I wouldn't mind you sharing more about how the process goes, and then maybe somebody else will ask a question during that time.
Totally. Yeah. So I mean, photolitho is it's very different from stone litho because it involves like a computer. Like you
Oh.
basically well, it doesn't need to involve a computer, but typically you use that process because you can get so much detail. Like
Mhm.
so you could put a graph in black and white on a on the plate and expose it, and you get like super great detail. So same with like the CMYK bitmap, like you get those, you can go, I don't, this is where I'm gonna probably start messing up talking, but like you can get really tiny dots.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't get the tiny dots on the screen
Right.
when you're trying to bitmap or whatever you call it. So yeah, you can get really great detail. And then it's basically like this plate, so it's like an aluminum plate that's covered in photo emulsion, and then you expose it similar to like you would a screen,
Mm-hmm.
and wash it out, and where the emulsion stays is like the printing base. So similar to like a stone, like where your positive areas would be. So yeah, and the cool thing about the plates is you can punch them, like hole punch and register them together.
Oh, snap. Cool.
Um, and yeah, I just did a CMYK separation on the computer, which has a new process for me to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And then just put it on 4 different plates, and then I printed them in, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Um, and yeah, and I liked it, but I just am such a sucker for like the analog, like working with the stone. So I think I'm always gonna kind of have that going at some way or another. But does that answer your
No,
question?
yeah, it does. I had no idea that there was a separation with that because I'm telling you, when I saw that thing, I was like, oh, I didn't know musicians had photo litho prints for sale, and I think she had it for sale for like $25. And then that's why I was also asking like how many editions did you do? Like I was wondering if it was an easy thing to edition because I know when you print a stone, like you have to prepare it all and then print it all at once. And I mean you can keep printing it, but it's like once you're on a roll, you kind of just want to print as much as you can.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because it was 4 layers, it's a little bit longer to edition, but it's the actual printing process is so much easier than a stone. Like to roll up the ink on there, you just actually I use this really cool new roller.
Ooh.
Um, it's a double roller, so there's 2 rollers, and then there's like a well on top,
What?
so you can charge it up. So yeah, it's like you, it's literally like their back, 2 passes.
You should
It's
send me a
perfect.
photo of that. That sounds really cool.
I, I will. Like, I was like, whoa. Um, so yeah, and the printing process, because the stones can give you so much trouble. Like just each stone's different, each image is different.
Yeah.
You have to edit, but this is just pretty like precise and foolproof. So a lot of like a lot of yeah, like photolitho prints are I think they have big editions because it's so easy to make a bunch.
Mm, okay.
So,
Nice. No, thanks for sharing that. I feel like that's a process I wouldn't mind exploring because it kind of sounds like photography a little bit. Um,
I feel like I love it.
yeah. So nobody's asked any more questions. So I'll just keep asking questions, I guess. Because we have some time. I think we have time for like 2 more questions, and then I feel like Instagram will cut us off. But will you ever try intaglio? Because I don't think you've ever tried it.
I'm so glad you asked that. So I've laid out like my own sort of curriculum because grad school is like I thought it would be a lot more like direction, but a lot of it's really up to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to ask what we want to learn, and a lot of it's been learning from each other. So there's a few great intaglio printers in my cohort. So next semester I'm gonna be like trading litho knowledge for intaglio knowledge.
Yes.
So I'm super excited. I'll have to keep you in touch with
Yeah,
that.
you're gonna love it. You're gonna be so
I
good at it.
I'm scared though. It's like just this whole new thing, and I've been so focused on litho for so long. But yeah, I mean, one of my goals is to become versed in all the forms of printmaking. Just if I ever want to teach or have my own
Mm-hmm.
shop, I want to be able to bounce back between them, and even like just combining different methods in my own work has always been pretty amazing to kind of get those overlaps.
Yeah.
So yeah, paleo. I also really want to work with like embossing more, like printing without ink. I think
Oh.
just like making holograph
Mm-hmm.
and I've always been really drawn to those.
Yeah.
And letterpress too. We have a good letterpress that I've like. I want to do it all, Brenda.
Do it all. Do it all. Because was it? Didn't we try letterpress a little bit in Charlie's class? But the letterpress wasn't working.
They were always there, and I think if we wanted, we could have done it, but I was just too focused on the stone.
Yeah. Same. I was just like, maybe next time. Yeah, so I think yeah, there's time for one more question. I don't know, I actually have one. I just thought of it when you were talking about Intaglio because I remember when I started working on Intaglio, I started having this thing that would happen to me, and then I remember when I would learn a new medium, it started happening to me a lot. So then I'm like, does is this just is it just me, or I hope it's not just me, but so I remember when I started working on Intaglio, I would remember the process, and I'm like, okay, this is how the process goes, and I do the etching and then the shading and all that stuff. So I remember then when I would walk home to my dorm and I would look at a tree, I would kind of picture like how it would look like as an
Yeah,
etching. Does that make sense? Do you have that, or is it just me?
yeah. It's cool. I have something similar. So like, I think, I guess that yeah. So when I would be working in litho and doing like a lot of touche washes, like all that
Mm-hmm.
reticulation, this is kind of similar to what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, but not. But I would like be in the bathroom stall in the bathroom at UH, and the bathroom stalls were all these like crazy textures.
Yes.
And because I'd be staring at my like stone so long with the toothbrush, I looked at the bathroom door and it was reticulated, even though it wasn't. But it was like, and I was like, am I losing my mind? I love that idea of too, of like, when you're not working, it's still in your brain,
hmm
and like you were saying, seeing a tree printed in Intaglio.
Yeah.
I think are important.
Yeah, no, that actually happened to me too when I when I would go to the bathroom. And I think it happened like when Charlie introduced us to like wood block printing. I would start
Mm-hmm.
seeing things. I'm like, how would they look like as a wood block print? Or like I would be like at a stop sign and I would see like a norms and kind of like the senior, and I was like, how would this look like as a lithograph? Like where can I put the touche there? So it was like my brain was like already like do this, do this.
Yeah, those like natural connections. Well, because that's it. When we have access to all these different kinds of printmaking, it almost gets overwhelming. Like, how do I want to express this?
Mhm.
And image is better suited for which medium? And yeah, I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we're out of time. I'm trying to I
Yeah.
hope my clock is correct and I just don't cut off when I should. But yeah, I'll end it now just in case like it cuts us off or anything. But thank you so much for joining, Cassie. I love that you answered all the questions, and it's just so nice to see you and talk to you.
I miss living with
I
you.
know, I do too. But we'll see each other soon, and thank you to
Yeah.
everybody who watched as well. Thank you so much. And yeah, and if you want to check out her work, I mean, everybody who's watching is following you already, but I'll upload the video. And yeah, do you want to say anything else, Cassie?
Just thank you. I mean, I feel like just talking about my work right now helped me understand everything more. So I appreciate everyone, and especially you, Brenda, for bringing it out of me.
Yeah, I not, not by force, just by choice. But yeah, thank you so much. Love you, Kiki. Love you,
Love you all.
Cassie. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.